Welcome to the week 4 update of Cash or Crash month 1. Now, Cash or Crash is a year-long business experiment where every single month I will start a new business and document the journey publicly. Each month I'm going to test a completely different type of business, some boring, some weird, some way outside my comfort zone, with one clear goal. Did it make money? Now, for the month of January, we've been building a local Facebook marketplace reselling business, and we're on week 4, which means we have less than 1 week left before this month comes to a close. So let me give you a recap of everything that's happened. Now, week 4, not the week I expected. This was one of the first weeks of the challenge where it kind of started to bring up questions, bring up concerns, bring up excitement. And let me explain. As always, we're going to give you the breakdown here. We're going to go highlights. We're going to go education and hypothesis. And then we're going to talk about the time and the financial gain of this experiment. So here's some of the top highlights. Monday, we started the week off freaking strong. We sold 4 kettlebells. Now, we had 17 left. We sold 4, so now we have 13 left. I sold 2 pairs for $65. So that meant the average kettlebell came out to be about $32.50. And remember, we paid about $23 for these. So I made about $9 per kettlebell. All right, this is a great thing. The coolest part about this, though, the 2 people who bought came within 5 minutes of each other. So I went out, made the delivery, came back in, went back out, and was able to be done, which was really, really great from a time perspective. Now, something that did not go well at all, that I think has actually impacted me, and I have yet to figure this out, is once I marked these as sold, okay, because I was talking with ChatGPT and I was trying to understand this. And so once I marked it as sold, I tried to create a new listing. Now, the new listing, I tried to make it slightly different, but it got flagged as a duplicate listing. And I think that has limited its reachability because I've had significantly less clicks compared to what I was in less messages. So that actually prevented when I redid a listing for the single kettlebell. I actually wasn't even able to get it out there, and there's very, very few clicks on it. And while I'm new to this and I don't have all the answers, the reason I think that this actually limited my reach was because I compared how many clicks I got on my listings in the same amount of time, and the first one that I did got exponentially more than the second one. So even if you factor in that there should be less just due to the nature of, okay, the first one everyone was interested, the people that were interested actually reached out and bought. But on this one, it's like I had less than 10 clicks, and on the other ones, I was getting close to 100 in the same time frame. So, and when I have the other listings up, those are still getting a lot of clicks. So I think somehow the reachability decreased, which was a huge problem. So that was something that I kind of had to figure out. But I was also traveling last week to Mexico for a good family friend's wedding. So I didn't have a ton of time to work on that. The other thing that I want to be very clear is a highlight, it could be positive or negative, I guess, is I'm just super busy in my main job. And so one of the things that I'm really recognizing and understanding here is I got to identify like what really is the objective here. How much time am I trying to commit 10 hours a week, or am I trying to spend up to 10 hours a week? Am I trying to make as much money as possible, or am I trying to see if there's a business that is worth pursuing after this challenge? These are all things that I'm learning, but it was a highlight of mine to be like, oh gosh, light bulb moment. What's our purpose? And trying to find more and more clarity. So those are some of the highlights, but selling the 4 kettlebells right away, boom, that was freaking sweet. Let's move on to the next section, which is kind of talking about what did we learn this week? Well, there were a few things that I learned, and I'm going to share them with you. The first thing that I learned was anytime you start something new, and it took me way too long to really commit to this for this challenge because of the ease of starting a Facebook marketplace where you could just like hop in and just sell anything. I just jumped straight into it. But something that I learned this past week was there are places, and it's always good to go to the places where people are already doing these things. This is not a new concept, and that's where I started, but I never got super deep. And so I actually joined a mastermind on reselling, a $5 a month mastermind for reselling. And it's not just Facebook Marketplace, but it's all types of reselling. And I was mind blown how much money people are making. And the fact that people are selling literally everything from beauty products to apparel to used lawn equipment to patio furniture to workout equipment. I mean, you name it, people are selling it. I even learned that there's a place called like B Stock. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's this place where you can buy these massive pallets of inventory at an incredibly low rate, and then you just use those to resell. And the reason I'm sharing all these things is because it's always beneficial to spend a little bit more time learning about certain things, but not so much time that it prevents you from actually doing. And so this is a lesson that I want to share that I'm learning about this is there's a certain equation, and I don't have the full answer to it yet because I'm still learning. But what I can tell you is there's an equation, and there's a certain amount of time you need to spend learning and understanding, and there's a certain amount of time you need to spend doing. And I believe that it needs to be learning and then implementing what you learn, and then learning more and then implementing. I don't believe it should be doing, then trying to learn. And I don't also believe that it should be learn, and never do. There is something to be said about learning and making sure that you have enough information to make decisions. Once you have enough information to make decisions, you do and make those decisions. And then based on the result, you adjust and you figure it out along the way. And so if I were to actually try to build a reselling business that was going to 6 or 7 figures, I would invest a lot more time into this mastermind. I would invest a lot more time into the learning of the holistic industry. For this particular challenge, though, and the reason why this equation is so unique is I only have 31 days in January. My job is not to spend the entire month learning and figuring it out and then trying. My job was to test it, experiment, take bigger swings. Would I have bought 18 kettlebells if I was actually doing this? Probably not. But I did that because of the challenge, right? I did it to try to increase some opportunities. The second thing that I learned is this past week is I had this thought that we were doubling down on workout equipment because we had seen some good success. But when I look back at it, we had a ton of success selling everything we sold. And it was just kind of one of those things where I really locked in right away. I got really focused. And that's great because workout equipment is selling and is working. It just had a smaller margin. And so this is what I found out is that I bought computer monitors and I made 60% on that, and it could have been double had I given it a little more time. I sold the baby stroller for 150% over what I bought it for, and that was great. But I wanted to get it out because I needed more space for storage. I sold bar stools that I found on an auction. I sold bar stools for about 10x return. All right, bought them for about $25, sold them for $230, almost a 10x return. And then workout equipment, the average I'm getting on all of the workout equipment is about 37.4% profit. So still really good, but it's funny because the thing that I doubled down on for this challenge is actually the lowest return out of everything else that I sold. And my hypothesis for why this is because, one, I really just had a lot of workout equipment that I could move, but also I saw workout equipment in this auction, but also I had a friend who sold workout equipment, so I felt connected to this. And the biggest thing, though, is workout equipment's smaller, right? Bar stools are a little bit bigger. I could sell them for $230. I'm not going to sell a dumbbell for $250, right? Unless it's such a heavy dumbbell, but I'm not really trying to move 125-pound dumbbells, right? And so I think that because I wanted to keep inventory in a small confined space, I think because I don't have a ton of space in my garage or my house for all of these things, and because I wanted to move things as fast as possible for the challenge, this is something to consider. And so if I were to actually continue pursuing this, I might think a little bit differently about what my approach would be. All right. And let's move on to the time update. So I spent 3 hours and 18 minutes this week. And here's how I spent my time. I was doing the deals the Monday early on in the week when I sold the 4 kettlebells. I was just doing the deals. The second biggest use of my time was communicating with potential buyers, doing a lot of follow-up. And that's what's getting me a lot of these sales. The third thing that took time was updating the listings and creating new listings. And then lastly, the place that I spent about a third of my time was learning the reselling game and just watching videos in this mastermind and trying to connect with different people. And so had I spent more time, and I'm just going to be brutally honest, had I spent more time, and I spent double the amount of time just connecting with different people and asking them, any member in this reselling mastermind, if I just said, hey, who does Facebook Marketplace? What have you sold? What's been the best deals? I could probably learn a lot really, really quickly, and then adjust my bias on what sells and what doesn't, and then try to do what they're doing at a higher clip for my local area. So let's talk about the financial update. Well, we spent $5 to join that mastermind, and we had revenue of $130. So that's pretty good. We also have 13 kettlebells left to sell, and everything we sell is just pure profit. And so there's about $400 to $500 to be collected. And to be honest, I might try to start giving these away, or I might try to even take a lower deal just for the nature of getting some of the stuff out before the challenge is over. But we'll see. Maybe I get rid of all of them before the challenge, or what I will do is I will create a final report of this is what the margins were, and then I'll continue to sell them after the fact, but they won't count towards the actual profit of this specific challenge. So when we look at the overall challenge here, we've spent about $535.75. I say about because I'm just adding the $5. We've done $690 in revenue, so our profit is $154.25 with $400 to $500 more in projected revenue. So I think this is really interesting here because when you look at the money, you might be like, okay, so far we've made $160 and I've spent a total about 20 hours now throughout this month on it. And so you're like, that's not a great use of your time. But here's the thing. I'm having a blast. I'm testing a concept on the side with very little time. I'm making money testing something out to determine if it's something that I want to pursue or if I would recommend it to others to pursue. This is awesome. This is so fun. And I'm excited to see if we can move some more of these kettlebells this week. I may try a going out of sale thing. We're going to try a couple different things here this week. So the final week is here. All right. We finished the last week. We got the final week, a little bit less than a week. My goal is to really just move inventory, do some last minute learning, and then really start to wrap up this challenge and get ready for month 2, which we'll be announcing here very, very soon. So there's the update. That's the week 4 update. We're over 25 days complete of the month of January in building a Facebook marketplace reselling business. There's so much opportunity here, and I'm barely scratching the surface, partly due to the time commitment, partly due to being so busy to start the year off in my main business, Big Idea to Bestseller, where we help people write and launch nonfiction books. But I'm stoked about this. This has been a blast. This is just a teaser for everything that's to come this year. Let's freaking go. Let's have some fun. And if you're enjoying this, let me know on Instagram at Jake Kelfer. I post daily updates there. Or let me know in the comments here that you're loving this series. Alrighty. See you next time.